sacrifice, and that was the bunt that Gedman fielded and threw high to Spike on at second base. You have the tying run 90 feet away in Kevin Mitchell, and the possible winning run at first in Ray Knight. And here's Mookie. 55,078 here at Shea, and they have really been put through the ringer. Fouled away. Benson mounts some more. 2 out in the 10th. 5-4 Red Sox. Ray Knight at first. Kevin Mitchell at third. 2-2 to Mookie Wilson. And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run. And Ray Knight is at second base. At second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Welcome to the first episode of the Behind the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Deku. You may be asking, Deku? It's Deku. And if you know the name, I know what you'll be watching. A little story behind myself. Not a news reporter. Never done anything like this ever. God knows if I know what I'm doing. But I felt like I wanted to do something as a Met fan in the way we're going. Just to see if my thoughts, or am I going insane with my thoughts, or trying to understand where the team or the direction they're going. Maybe I do this and get some sanity just for myself. Little backstory behind me. Grandfather was a baseball fan, Brooklyn Dodgers fan, back in the day when New York had 3 teams. They had the Yankees, Brooklyn Dodgers, and New York Giants. Both the Brooklyn Dodgers and New York Giants went over to the West Coast. So there was just the Yankees until the Mets came in, and my grandfather was a Met fan ever since and brought me up as a Met fan as well. Been a Met fan as long as I was little, started understanding baseball and everything probably in mid-90s, going into the 2000s. That's the Wilpon eras. And as we know with the Wilpons, they were a small market team working in a big city. So Yankees were always number one. Again, I consider myself not only a Met fan, but an average baseball fan. I would say in the early years, I used to hate the Yankees. Always winning, especially in the 90s. Always winning, always having great players like Tino Martinez, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, all those guys, Andy Pettit, Paul O'Neill. All those guys, were Hall of Famers, or soon to be Hall of Famers, or are Hall of Famers. And kind of not going to say I hated the team because they had all the players, or they, got all the money, or they made all the moves that the Mets didn't. But again, that's what I wanted the Mets to be. A history of baseball, keeping their big players, trying to make a long history just like the Yankees. So I was envious in that way. Certain Yankee fans are a little cocky, where they're not really baseball fans. Like, my whole story, or my whole little question to find out if they're really Yankee fans or not, is if they can answer me this one question. What was the first name of the New York Yankees before they were the New York Yankees? Not many people know the answer if you're not a baseball historian. Most people in New York just like winners, so they jump on the Yankee bandwagon. Those same people will jump on the Mets bandwagon once the Mets win and start winning World Series, which is annoying, but it is what it is, being a New Yorker. Again, so let's go to the point of the reason why I'm making this podcast. Again, like I said, as all Met fans, sick and tired of the same old spiel, the same old thing, always missing out on the big players, signing great players at the end of their careers just to try to make a few extra bucks. I mean, like, we signed Team Tebow. Like, come on, was he really going to be a baseball player? I doubt it. But it was all just to make quick, turn around, bring Vans in. He was, a draw for the minor leagues. But at the same time, it was never, I felt like the owners were serious about winning. And, just like many Mets fans, I also enjoy winning. And I would like to see at least the Mets win one, before, I get too old to remember anything. And it's sad because it's almost like, almost having the curse like Boston did. I don't want to be freaking over here 56 years and no championships. That would be crazy. At the same time, we go fast forward. We signed Piazza. We did a few good things, or they did a few good things, but never really cultivated a World Series champions teams. We fast forward last year, or the year before, we overachieved, had a great playoff run, and we're maybe 2-3 games off going to the World Series and eliminating the Dodgers, which, we got eliminated by them. I honestly think that team could have beaten the Yankees as well in the World Series. And the only reason I say that is the Yankees played terrible that year. Freaking Judge wasn't really having a great postseason. Nobody really was standing out. They were making mistakes. If they made those same mistakes against the Mets or any baseball team, I think could have beaten them in the World Series. They played terribly. So that was like a missed opportunity. And missed opportunity for revenge in like 2000. So now we fast forward again. Okay, we go and we sign Soto. And I'm thinking, all right, this guy Stearns knows what he's doing. Okay, maybe he's doing something, cool, great. Now he's starting to move things. And by signing Soto, the Mets actually put on notice to everybody that, hey, we are, here. We're going to be contenders. We're going to be contenders for many years to come. We're going to go around and be not the small market team. We're actually going to compete. And it's going to be the battle of the giants. Yankees and Mets. We're really going to be, stepping our foot forward. Especially when Steve Cohen bought the team. And now we have a multi-billion-dollar owner. One of the richest owners in baseball. So I'm thinking we should be heading in the right direction. I have people telling me, yeah, no, it's the same old Mets. And it's hard to say. It's like, they may be just stuck. Trauma from the Wilpon era. That they can't see what's in front of them. So, we signed Alonso. Okay, we missed the postseason. We played great in the first half. One of the best records at one point. And then we just fall off again. Unbeknownst to us what really happened. I really don't care if what happened in the locker room, whatever. I doubt any locker room activity happened. It's just the team just, failed and underachieved. All right, so now you're thinking going to off season and we're going to do some things right. And right away, Stearns trades off Nemo. He doesn't even give an offer to Pete Alonso. So Alonso's just gone to Baltimore like nothing. So I don't understand how that works because who do you have to protect Soto? Like if I'm any major league pitcher and we're playing a big game or any type of game and we're tied or something and Soto's up and first base is open, 9 times out of 10, I'm walking Soto. There's no reason. There's no threat. Even if you put Lindor behind Soto, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. Lindor is the leadoff hitter. He's not going to be able to protect Soto. And you don't have anybody that threatens or anybody in free agency that's going to be like, oh, this guy is going to be a threat, so we have to pitch to Soto. So we lost that. So Alonso goes to Baltimore. Then obviously McNeil was going to get traded. We all knew that. So you blow up that whole core. So now this is David Stearns' team. Because anybody he brings in now, it's not from the old era. And at the same time, which is kind of funny, that I kind of think about it, is that, all right, I don't even think the Soto deal was his idea. I think the only reason he signed Soto was Steve Cohen was like, yeah, it's sign him or else. Like, I don't care what you say. I think it was a Steve Cohen signing. I don't think it was Stearns signing. And honestly, like I started after that whole blow up and everything going on, I don't understand what he's thinking. A lot of minor league contracts signed this year to be invited for spring training. No moves on Bellinger or Kyle Tucker. I get it. You don't want to overspend, but my whole idea is you spend for the best players. I know that they have years of experience. Those guys are worth it. And then what you do is after you spend for those best players and give them, several year contracts, maybe 7-8 years, then you're hoping your farm system comes up where you get your rookies up to par and those guys' contracts run out. And then now the rookies take over, and who are probably hopefully good rookies that you build up on your farm system, take over and then, proceed as planned and continue with the success of the team. And that's, I feel like, how you build championship teams. You have to get a mix of stars, but then build up your farm system. And then when the stars are fading out, and then, sorry to say it like so cold-heartedly, but their use is, at the end of the career, you move on from them and you go with your rookies who are younger and more available and on the cheap on contracts because they're tied up. And you can have them for at least a good, I think it's 5-6 years before they actually go to free agency and continue the process. I don't know what the Mets are doing right now. But like David Stearns, I started looking into the past and understanding where that was coming from. And like at one point in 2022, I mean, we were looking good because before David Stearns came, we had Buck Showalter managing the Mets, which I thought was a great manager. He freaking led the Mets to 101 winning season, his first season with the Mets. They did fall off the following season, but right away it seems like as David Stearns came in, the first thing he did was get rid of Showalter. And that was, his whole thing. And like it says, now reading from, Wiki, it says that Steve Cohen announces Mets hire Stearns and president of baseball operations. He was introduced the following day. His first major move announced on October 1st was to termination Buck Showalter. It had been speculated Stearns would be reunited with former Brewers Craig Counsell. However, Counsell went to Chicago Cubs, and the Mets hired New York Yankees bench coach Carlos Mendoza. Now, nothing against Carlos Mendoza. He's so far been decent. His first, year, he got the Mets in the playoffs. Second year, not so great. We'll see what happens in the third year. On top of that, I started looking in the background and wondering what did Steve Cohen seen in David Stearns that he wanted to sign him. And like from what I'm reading, Stearns, was doing well. In 2018, he was, from what I'm reading right now, on September 21st, 2015, Milwaukee Brewers named Stearns the next general manager, succeeding Doug Melvin, who they announced would remain on his advisory at the age of 30. He became the youngest general manager in MLB, one of the youngest in history. Then it seems like Stearns was, did great, doing with the team, getting him to the playoffs. First 5 of the Brewers, he restructured the front office with Gord Ash, assistant general manager with Reed Nicholas, farm director with an organization, hiring Matt Arnold from Tampa Bay Rays for assistant general manager. Then it says, during the first off-season general manager, Stearns replaced half of the Brewers' 40-man roster. His first transitions including Jonathan Lucroy and acquiring Travis Shaw and Eric Thames and Anthony Schwartz. Then it says, in 2018, Stearns signed free agent Leandro Cain and Julius, if I'm saying this wrong, Jordan Kutsin, and traded for Christian Yelich, who won the National League MVP the first season as a Brewer. The Brewers were in second place in the National League Central by MLB trade deadline. At the deadline, Stearns orchestrated moves to acquire Mike Moustakas and Curtis Granderson and Gio Gonzalez and Jonathan Scope. The Brewers went on to win the division, and after defeating Chicago Cubs in 2018, the National League Central tiebreaker game, and they beat the Colorado Rockies in 2018 National League Division Series in 3 games. However, they lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2018 National League Championship Series in 7 games. Yelich was named 2018 National MVP after the season. Stearns finished with second on the MLB Executive of the Year voting, but was the highest voted National League executive. So in the beginning, it looks like with the Brewers, he was doing fine. He was doing great. okay, yeah, I can understand the all. Okay, he changed the system with the Brewers. He got them to the playoffs. He got them good. So then in what it seems, Stearns extension promoted president. So in January 2019, the Brewers promoted Stearns to president of baseball operations and general manager. And then after 2020 season, the Brewers promoted Matt Arnold to general manager and Stearns remained president of baseball operations. But then in October 27th in 2022, Brewers announced Stearns was stepping down as president of baseball operations and moving into an advisory role with ownership. Then it says general manager Matt Arnold took over baseball operations duties. The move came after a disappointing Brewers season in which the club missed the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. On August 1st, 2022, the team traded star Josh Hader. One day before the trade deadline at the time, Milwaukee sat in first place in National League Central, but then would finish the season 7 games behind St. Louis Cardinals. After they were eliminated from the playoffs contention on October 3rd, many pointed to the Hader trade as the turning point in the season. Stern himself hinted that regretting the move of his season-ending press conference, admitting it had more pronounced impact than I thought it would at the time, and surrounding moves didn't correctly fortify the team in Josh's absence. So you had the best closer in baseball. You were in the top first place in National League Central. You trade him off, which I don't understand because you're in the top. There's no reason to trade him. But you trade your best star closer, and then you sink and mix the playoffs. Again, I don't understand what his idea. It was almost like the same thing when he made those trades last season, and they didn't turn out nothing, and we sunk. And then it was like Stearns General considered to have to preside over the most successful stretch in Brewers history, which was great. The organization in 4 consecutive playoff appearances in 2018 and 2021. But it looks like that after that mistake in 2022, the Brewers moved on from him. So I don't understand why Steve Cohen wanted him so badly. I don't get it. It seems like the Brewers saw what he did. He did the best he could, and that was it. And that doesn't seem like he was going to do a turning point. So now he comes back. He comes to the Mets, gets rid of Schultz, gets Mendoza to coach. He gets rid of Alonso, Nemo. So he got rid of the whole thing and just took a sledgehammer to the lineup. Again, like I said, I don't think Soto was his plan either. So he's stuck with Soto. So now he has to build this team, and he's not making any moves. It's like he's trying to get these minor league contracts and people on the cheap, and hopefully they can successfully turn around their careers this season. And to me personally, if he doesn't do something and get either Kyle Tucker or Bellinger, I don't know what is his plan, because it's supposed to be win now. It's not rebuild season. Steve Cohen even stated when he bought the team, the Mets, he wanted the World Series in 5 years. Now we are on to year 6. So he missed his post deadline. Didn't happen. And at the end of the day, me personally, I'm thinking, what do you do here? What are we doing here? I mean, you could have had Alonso, and he could have stayed a Met. And it's not like you can't afford it. And that's another thing I don't understand. Like when I talk to people, they're like, oh, if the Mets could afford these guys, if he could afford to have this guy, that guy. I don't understand why the Mets, if Steve Cohen wanted to, couldn't afford Bellinger and Kyle Tucker. Why couldn't he afford both of them? Why couldn't he afford Alonso, Bellinger, and Kyle? Like, I don't get it. You have more money than most league owners. I mean, you have the LA Dodgers who are back paying everybody. I mean, Steve Cohen could pay Soto's contract off now, and it wouldn't even hurt his bank. It would be like giving $700 away. And the same thing with any of the other guys. Like, if, you would do this, and like the whole mess up that he did with Diaz, where he signs Williams and not talk, and like saying that he wants to sign Diaz, but then don't talk to him about it. If that's your star closer and you're going to keep him, I would have totally signed Diaz first and then talk to Diaz and be like, listen, we're going to get Williams also to be the setup man for you, so we're not always leaning on you. I think if he would have made that clear, not undermined Diaz, maybe in that sense it wouldn't have been a problem, and Diaz maybe would have heard the Mets and would have signed with the Mets instead of the Dodgers. So again, I don't blame Diaz for going. Again, I'm putting this all on Stearns. If he doesn't do a great move or something, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't work for management. I again, know only as a baseball fan. So maybe there's something that we don't know that's happening behind closed doors. But at the same time, what's going on in the situation? What is he gonna do to turn this around? Because if he doesn't, and he doesn't make any major moves, me personally, I want to see the Mets fail. I want them to be last place, 70 games or 71 game wins with one game behind the worst team in the National League East, which may be the Washington Nationals again, and be under them. Because that's what we deserve, because you're playing small ball like you're with the Wilpons. He would have been better with the Wilpons than as Steve Cohen as the owner, because at least with the Wilpons he could say we're money constraints, the Madoff situation. You can't really make an excuse why you're not spending money when you can. I don't get it. Like, obviously Steve Cohen says, he's a Met fan, whatever, so it's a dream come true that he owns a team. Supposedly David Stearns grew up as a Met fan and now he gets to run the team, but you're not running to win. And I guess I get it. And again, who knows, maybe tomorrow he makes a move right now, but as I see it right now, he hasn't done anything, and we're on January 5th. And I don't see where he could make improvements without signing one or both of those guys. I mean, again, yes, he said he did these moves, trading Nemo to get the second baseman to solidify defense. But if that doesn't work out, then what you're going to say? And at the end of the day, if the Mets fail, Stern needs to go. I'm sorry, it didn't work. I don't see what he's trying to do. Again, like I said, I'm just a fan. And I guess that's why I'm making this podcast, is fan frustrated, because I've been preaching, guys, don't worry. We got a new owner. They're going to do right. They're going to do the blame right. And right now, I don't see them doing right. I'm like eating my own words, trying to say, well, they're not going to be the same old Mets. And everybody's like, no, they're the same old Mets. And I may have been proven wrong. And that means, that means who we have is still penny pitching, doing the job. Like, you don't need to penny pinch because you have the money. You're scared for long contracts. And I don't get this whole new level of players in their 30s. Oh my God, they're in downgrade. Not all players downgrade after 30. They still improve. They're not 40, and they're still in their prime of their career. So to give them an extra 5-6 years, I didn't think would have killed the Mets, to keep Alonso, and then he would have retired as a Met and probably one of the greatest Mets of all time. Now that's gone. And he was definitely a big fan favorite. And now you're left with trying to fill holes that you can't. And now is people, or not necessarily people, but is the rumors and all this drama that's being, stirred up with the Mets, scaring players to want to play for the Mets. You know what I mean? They say locker room problems and everything else. And that doesn't help either. So, you're trying to build a winning team and you're scared to spend money, and now you're probably scaring the players off. Like, it's not a good place, a good work or fun environment. And for that, I could go to the Yankees, I could go to the Dodgers, I could go to another team that could be a contender. And then that hurts us as an organization. And now we have the richest man in baseball, and we're still in the same old rut, doing the same old thing. And the same old thing doesn't work. It never worked, and we need to switch tactics. So again, I hope David Stearns makes me eat my words. But right now, I don't see it. I don't see where this improves us in any possible way. And then my whole thing is, if they do fail, now, does the blame just go on David Stearns, or does it go on Mendoza as well? Like, Mendoza only could do so much. I think he is a good manager, but he only could do so much of what he has. And if he doesn't have a team to put out there to win games, how you're supposed to have him push this team to be a contender? I mean, you could do only so much. I mean, yes, he did it. We had decent players, and it worked out with us his first year. But again, look at that. We get, Soto, and somehow we did worse after the trade deadline, and maybe the moves that he made did not work out. That could be said. Maybe if he didn't make moves, maybe we still would have made, and stayed with the same players, maybe we would have made the playoffs. But now we don't know. So now, for me, I feel like with David Stearns, it's like a do or die situation. Like, either get this right or stop being scared and make moves. I mean, sooner or later, Bellinger's either going to go back to the Yankees or he's going to go to the Dodgers, and the Mets are going to be missing out on that too. And why? Because you're scared to spend a few extra bucks that you actually have. That doesn't hurt the owner at all. But for some reason, you don't want to spend the money. And then on the other thing, Steve Cohen's trying to make that whole area, big and popular. He's making a new football stadium, meaning soccer stadium for the New York Football Club. He's got approved for his casino that's going to be across the street from Orlando, across the parking lot of the Citi Field. And I think the best way to make that casino successful is actually having a winning team. So when people go to a winning team, they want to come over to the casino afterwards or go to the bars and restaurants there afterwards and still have a great time instead of going to a losing team. Because if you're having a losing team, nobody's going to want to go to the casinos afterwards, and you're not going to make as much money and as much profit as you would have if you had a winning team. So I would think it would be the best interest to try to put the best team out there and make all the right moves. And even if you have to spend and overpay a little bit here and there. And God knows what's going to happen after 2026 when we have this strike where they're talking about salary caps and everything. The whole game is going to be changed again. And how does that work with us in the future? Maybe that's why Baltimore and all these other teams that didn't make moves before are making moves now, knowing that after 2026, things are going to be different and it's going to be more difficult to actually acquire or get these players or what not have you. So these are my thoughts. And again, I'm just making this podcast just to see where we are as a team. I mean, is it going to be one episode I do? I don't know. It's not going to be every week. I mean, you only could talk so much in a week. I mean, nothing has happened since we lost Alonso, we lost McNeil, and we lost Nemo. Like, nothing big. We're doing these little minor league things that's not even great to report. They're only great to report if these guys turn out to be fantastic and overachieve. But nothing of substance. So, I mean, I've been wanting to do this as soon as possible before a move was made, because then it would have been non and void for my complaints or my grievances if he did do something. And then it's like, okay, now it came out too late. So I do apologize for my first podcast being rushed. But again, if I do stick with it, let's see if it gets better or it gets worse. We don't know. Again, it's a nice short grievance. Hopefully, maybe if anything, if I get anything out of this, maybe I'll get some way to get my frustrations out without driving nuts. You know what I mean? It's almost like talking to a therapist. Instead of talking to a therapist, I make these little podcast videos just to edge out my grievances and see how things work. Or who knows, maybe this could be a lucky thing and I can actually report that the Mets are going to the World Series. I don't know. But hopefully it'll be a fun year, and I'll do hopefully some more episodes and see how this comes out. But again, it's going to be an interesting year. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Tomorrow may be a signing. And it'll be a great way to report. I can report, boom, when the signing happened and see how that goes. But until then, I do appreciate whoever listens, even if I get one person listen. If not, fine with me. Again, I'm just doing this for shits and giggles and just trying to, I guess, find my ways of being a Met fan and finding other outlets of understanding, situations. Maybe I could hear from you guys. I think the email should be attached to this podcast. Again, I'm new to this, so I don't know. But if not, you could hit us up at the Behind the Bag podcast at gmail.com. And anything, maybe I'll read some of the emails out to see if we have dialogue and see what's going on and people's feelings about what's going on, their frustration. I mean, I know a lot of Met fans put a lot of posts. I've seen people put posts on these social media apps. But again, we'll see what happens, and hopefully we actually have a decent contending season. But only time will tell. So, again, thank you for listening. This is Deku signing off, and bye con Dios los peoples. Thanks again.